what do you mean there's not going to be any fireworks? No elephant rides or pony rides or, balloons or anything like that. Oh, we didn't have any budget? Well, what about the party snacks and things like that we could pass out to all the people who join us today? That wasn't in the budget either. So we're not going to be able to hand out a free record to everyone who watches this show? Man, this is the 250th episode. We're supposed to do something special. Oh, we don't have any budget for special things. Let's see. Well, then what good are you to me? Bye. Welcome to episode 250 of Sonic Boom TV, the full fatness episode. You get everything new and everything fresh. You get none of that stuff, guys. We got no budget for it. But we did get a new sign from Walmart. It was like $10. It does blinking stuff, different speeds, different colors. You can add your own words to it. I don't know if that's spaced very well or how well you can see it, but this is the first time we're using it, so we're gonna go with it as it is. So 250 episodes, whew, that's a lot. I've been out for a little while. I got sick for a couple weeks, and I felt good, but you hear that sniffing stuff? Well, it was much worse, and I sounded terrible, and I just didn't feel like doing a video and sounding like that, real bad. So I thought I would do something special for this episode, but it didn't really work out the way I wanted to because I didn't finish doing this everything I need to do here. And then I started buying a lot of records for me. So you'll see some of that in this episode. You can see some of it here. And if you're on my Instagram, you would have seen what I got yesterday. Or yesterday or the day before. One of those. That was all in one day, and it was a lot. But as you can see down here, we've got the old record player stereo system thing. I don't know how well you can see it, but that's the one I've talked about. It's mostly cleared at the bottom. There's one crate there that just has some stuff in it that some of it's trash, some of it is records covers without records, and then I think there's a couple of those like weird box sets that you find in the dollar stores that I might listen to once or twice in my life, and then they'll just live in a box somewhere. But anyway, once I get that cleared up, we'll look at that on another show. Because basically all I gotta do is pick the CDs up, which they may end up here on the top of this thing. I'm not sure yet, because I got to figure out what I'm doing with all the records that are here. As we've talked about before, I have these shelves here, these record shelves. I got 4 of these now. I really need another one. Don't know where I'm going to put it. The only place I can really put it is in this space here, but then I got to move this record player, and I have nowhere to put that. And that was Mom's, so I'm not getting rid of it. So with this episode, I'm not really going to show like new stuff. I mean, some of it may pop up, but basically I'm just going to kind of talk about what I do, and if you want to stick around and listen to that mess, that'd be great. If not, I understand. But I've been doing this 250 episodes. I should be a lot further along, but I've had some rough patches here and there, so we just go with it from here and see where we go, in the future. First off, I'd like to thank a few people for just kind of being around. Not that they did anything super special. Some of them did, but just people that kind of help me get through the day sometimes. Whether they know it or not. Because music is kind of an escape thing. It's a hobby and it's a lifestyle in a lot of cases, but basically it's kind of an escape, to get away from, the regular world. And so, there's people that I've met on YouTube, there's people I've met on Whatnot, a couple other places. But I'm just going to kind of mention some of the people that I met on, like, those 2 places. First off, I got Dan from Off the Charts. he I don't know how we became friends really, because except for like commenting on his videos every now and then I guess he started watching my show, and he got this idea to do something called the Kansas Connection, which is me, Dan, Steve, and Keith. Keith and Steve are from New Zealand, and Dan's from Canada, and I'm from the United States. So CA NZUS. It's Kansas, connection. So we do videos every month or so. We will probably due for one soon. But they all run on Dan's channel off the charts. So I'd like to say thanks to Dan. And he's turned out to be a pretty good friend. We mess with each other all the time. So he's pretty awesome. And then Steve does Rock and Metal Invasion, and Keith does Attack from Down Under. I don't get to talk to them as much because they're in a different part of the world, and the time is not really linked up to be able to talk to them a lot. But we chat every now and then on comment, doing comments on videos or Instagram or something like that. But I like to thank those guys. They make it a little bit more fun, and they kind of accept me for what I do here. So and that's pretty cool. And I love what they do. So, and then we've got Whatnot people. I guess the most important one. He's gonna love that I said that. Even though I punch him in the nose sometimes. But my friend Mike Bruno from Dead Broke Records, he's been a great friend. That he gives me deals on stuff, and I would be his friend whether he was selling me records or not. He's just a good guy. He's in a bunch of bands. His main one right now I think is Iron Sheik, but he's got one called Crowbait that he was in. He's got another one called Adult Magic. I forget the others. I think he's got a couple, and I've got at least something by most of them. I don't have any an album by Adult Magic, but I do have this 7-inch. But he's a real good guy, and he's giving me some great deals, and he tries not to outbid me on stuff and whatnot, but it happens every now and then, and I give him a hard time. But Mike, you're pretty awesome, so take that to wherever you're taking it. Other people that I see a lot on Whatnot are and they make it go just a little better. Like it makes you feel like you know somebody, because there's a lot of random people there, but then there are people that are there all the time, and they're probably doing the same thing as me, just trying to waste their time, or whatever, watching a show and buying some records here and there, and just having somebody to talk to that they feel like is a friend. So Ambi Andrade, she's awesome. You go, boo. Didn't think I was going to say that on TV, right? This isn't really TV. Then there's Molly Vinyl. I don't remember her last name, but I've got her friended on Instagram as well, both of those. There's Jay Cable. She's awesome. She's into a lot of stuff. She loves Paul McCartney. I think she said that was her husband or something at this point. I'm not sure what their relationship is, but go Jay Cable. And then Stacy from Best Coast Music. She helps me out every now and then. She actually bought me a birthday present, so I need to say thank you for that. Then we've got the guys from VC Vinyl, the Sellers. They are Mike, Caden, Oscar, and Lila. Lila may or may not be there. She quit, but then she came back. She did a show today, and then I don't know what the deal is. It's not really any of my business. But they've been having a lot of good deals on there as well. So those are kind of the people that I can think of right now. And I just, it kind of gets me through the day sometimes. When I'm having a hard day, if I just go in there and watch records that I've seen 1,000 times, because a lot of times they just run the same stuff that I've seen already, but it's just something to do, when you got nothing else to do. And lately I've had a lot of nothing else to do. So that being said, VC Vinyl and Dead Broke have both come across things that I want quite often. And I bought some like I guess what you would say grails. People say that. I don't use that term as far as anything because a grail is like the one thing, and I just say they're important albums to me. They've both come through with some great things. Dead Broke is a punk rock label, punk rock, in indie kind of stuff. But he found two of the biggest heavy metal records, glam metal records that I've wanted for a long time, and I might as well even just try to show them if I can pull them real quick. I'll pull the first one because I know where it is. Maybe I don't. But these two are like big. I paid for them. He gave me a discount, but I still paid for them. If I can get it out of here. This one. Let's see if I can find the other one real quick. I was surprised when I first saw them, and I wanted them so bad. And he had somebody make an offer on one of them, and I just like, look, dude, I need these records. And the first one is like probably one of my biggest wants that I wanted from him, and that would be the Britny Fox self-titled debut album. What's different about this one is that it's got a gold stamp. Well, you can't really see it right there, but it's got the gold stamp promo sticker. It's that sticker stamp, and that makes it a lot more rare. I mean, this is a pretty expensive record to begin with, and he dropped the price for me from what he was trying to sell it for, which I think he probably could have got for it. So I thank him for that. I was shocked that I got that. I still paid a good bit for it, but and then the other one is a record that it's not one that I would consider to be like a favorite, all-time favorite or anything, but it's one that had a great song, and there's actually several great songs on here, but they had one hit song that it was super. I don't know if it was super popular, but it was super popular to me. But I could never find the CD when it was out. I never could find a cassette. I never saw it in a store. I don't know why. And then I could have gotten it. And then when I really decided, okay, let me go get this. Everywhere I found it, it was like super expensive. So I was like, nah, I'm not doing that. For a record. The CD might be available cheaper, but and that is Every Mother's Nightmare. And this one is also a gold stamp promo. So good record. And both of these, he gave me a great deal. I think he gave me a great deal. Some people may disagree with that, but it was really good. So, but not only them, but VC Vinyl had been getting so much stuff in. They had their regular stock, which kind of is the thing where it just repeats every day for a month or two, and then they'll get some new stuff, and it'll kind of graduate to a newer set of the same thing, and you try to buy up everything you want over a couple weeks, and eventually most of the time that works. You can get, if they have everything they have, you can get a copy of. Well, all of a sudden they started getting shipments that were less, and so I'm not exactly sure what the deal was, like where these records came from. They look like they were returns to me because some of them come with a price tag from a store on them, so they were probably returns, and some of them got damaged. They had a show that a lot of stuff was damaged, and it was a lot to sell. And I think that although it was good, it also had its bad side because a lot of stuff was damaged, and you didn't realize it was damaged. I got the most warped record I've ever seen in my life that I'm trying to flatten out. It was only cost me $5, so I'm not worried about this one. But it was called Inhaler, Cuts and Bruises, limited edition white vinyl. This is Bono from U2's son, I believe it's him. He looks just like Bono. He sounds like Bono. But I put it on, and that record is just wave. And it flattened a little bit. I had a bunch of stuff books and a box of records piled on top of it for a while. Right now, it's just under these records right here. It's just under them right now, and I'm just gonna let it sit there for months and see if it flattens out. It flattened out a little bit, but I don't think it's gonna. And it plays, but the record it waves so high that it hits the arm, so it's not a good thing to be running. But and maybe if I can get one of those weights that you put on the records that some people get, that might push it down far enough, and we can go from there. But most of the records I got, they were pretty good condition. The ones that I found that were not, I just dealt with Whatnot, and they gave me either a refund or a partial refund or something like that. It all worked out, and I still have the records. Didn't have to return anything. Very few that I had were warped. It was mostly like cover issues that I might have had that I didn't realize when I bought it. So, and it's not anybody's fault. I mean, it's kind of hard to sit there and sell 300 or 400 records in a show and identify the problems on every one of them. So I don't know if there's a better system that they could do or not, but it doesn't matter. It works out. I've gotten some albums that I never thought I was going to get, I had brought up earlier in the year that my goal was to find some of the older heavy metal, glam metal kind of stuff that I didn't have copies of on vinyl, and I ended up getting some of the hardest ones I thought I was going to, try to get, as well as a bunch of other stuff that I didn't think I was going to be able to get, like a lot of 90s stuff that's been reissued. And I don't care if it's original or reissued. That's the one thing that you will never, ever, find me, like, being particular about it, I guess. If you say, oh, I've got, Faster Pussycat, first album, you got a new one or you got an old one? They're the same to me. I'm not going to argue whether, oh, this one sounds better, this one's... I don't care about all that. If it sounds like the album that I'm listening to, then it's good enough for me. And if it does sound horrible, which I've only run into like 1 or 2 times in my life, then maybe I'll find another copy. But I used Faster Pussycat because I did get an original, actually, and I got it for way cheaper than I thought it was going to be. I got it for like $30, maybe 30 or 25, something like that. I don't remember, but yeah, I thought that was going to be like $100. So, and I don't like to spend that much money on records. So, BC Vinyl has given me a ton of stuff this year, and these last few months. And if you can see these little bins here, I've got 3 of these full. I've got probably a half, maybe a third right here, which I showed on Instagram last night or yesterday or one of the last couple days. I got all these in the mail at one time, and that is coming to an end quickly because I basically ran up my credit card getting a lot of these albums, and now I got to pay for my credit card. So we're going to work on that, and then we'll go see what happens after that. But a lot of albums in here that they're all reissues mostly, but things I just never thought I would have, and then some of them I got like into like new bands that I didn't have anything by, but now I have 3 or 4 records for, and I've listened to some of this. Some of this is still sealed; they haven't opened it yet, but let's just go with the first one. Like this band, A Day to Remember. I got these 2 recently, and that little the stickers are in there. They're like sticky notes that tell you what number it was. I got to figure out what the prices were and anything. But now I have 3 albums by this band, A Day to Remember. I had none a few months ago, so that's pretty good. But I've got a lot of stuff, and people, a lot of people say, when you ask people, well, what kind of music do you listen to? I don't know, as far as my answer, really, because I'll scoot up here a little bit. My answer is I don't know, because I don't really have a favorite genre of music. I like things differently and equally. Like I can listen to punk rock music, I can listen to ska music, I can listen to heavy metal, I can listen to thrash, I can listen to hard rock or even pop music, like up to a certain point, and be equally satisfied as what I'm listening to. And a lot of people will say, instead of that, they will say, "Oh, well, I listen to everything." Well, when you say you listen to everything, to me, excuse me, that means you just listen to whatever comes on the radio. That's not what I do. I used to, when I was growing up, I listened to Top 40 radio, because that's what we had, and you got a lot of whatever was popular, the most popular songs. So that gave me some of everything, but it was very little of some things. Like, you didn't hear punk rock stuff unless it was like Rock the Casbah or, stuff by The Clash. Maybe there was I don't even think the Sex Pistols, Anarchy in UK. I don't think that ever got on the radio, on regular radio anyway. But you had some hard rock songs there. You got the glam metal started coming on, but I was always looking for something else. Even though that was there, and I used it to find stuff. I would buy magazines. I would, we didn't have the internet back then, but now that we do, it's much easier. But I'd buy a magazine. And I'd look through all the ads that they were in there. Like, I'd read a lot of magazines, like Rolling Stone and like Rip is one of them I read. Metal Edge. I don't know. There's a bunch, but they always had like little ads in the back or at the bottom of the page or something. And it was a lot of times it was other bands that were just trying to sell you their albums or whatever. And sometimes I'd write those bands and get something back. The unknown ones that would always send you a cassette or something. But that's how I started like expanding on my, what I was listening to. And then the other thing I would do is I would have a band, and I'm trying to think of something. I'm going to grab something right now I just actually got this on a record. But let's say Sonic Youth. I'd take the liner notes and I'm not going to, this one doesn't, no, look at that. This doesn't even have liner notes. How great is that? When I'm trying to show you, well, it's got that. But then this side is all pictures. But anyway, you go through, and what I would do is I would look to see who they thanked. And a lot of times they would thank other bands or just members of bands. And if I could figure out who those people were, then I would look up those bands and try to find out whether or not they were any good, or if I liked them. A lot of times I did, and so that gave you. And a lot of times they would thank bands that you knew and that were easy. But then they would find like other bands that you're like, well, I never heard of them. Let me try to find out. And back in the day, it was harder to find out because you basically had to buy it to find it or hear it somewhere, because MTV had limited what you would see. There was a couple other music video channels that would pop up, but not much. And so you just it had to grow some kind of way. And basically you just had to go buy something and take a chance. Well, I've taken a chance, still do that to this day. If I see something that the name of the band is interesting to me, the cover, whatever, I'm likely to check it out if the price is right. And when I say when the price is right, if it's $1, like a dollar bin thing, it looks interesting to me, I'm buying it regardless. If it's up to $5, I'm a little bit hesitant to do it at $5, but most likely, if I'm sure of like a genre or something of what they are, if I'm sure of it and there's nothing about it that says don't get this, I'm gonna get it. If it's damaged or whatever, I might leave it there. But after $5, I get a little more picky. But that's on like CDs mostly for that. But if it's a record, it's kind of the same thing on the records, except for if it's a brand new record, I will spend probably $10 on something I don't know. That was that inhaler thing that I got for $5. I would have gone 10, but I think I had a coupon for that one, and so I would have gotten that regardless. And I didn't know that it was Bono's son at the time, and I didn't know it was Warped. So and then apparently it's kind of an expensive record because it's a UK, I think, only release, and somehow they got it. They only had a couple copies, and so I'm disappointed that it's warped. Hopefully someday I'll get it flattened enough to be able to listen to it, because I listened to the first side, it played through, but the warp when the needle lifted up, it came back, it hit the top of the record, and then it kept going, and the other side it really bowed up, so I couldn't do anything. But so that's kind of like how, my spending habit, I guess, is how I start off determining what I'll spend on something. Now, I used to have, when I first got back into collecting records, which was, I don't know how long ago. It was probably, I'm going to say less than 10 years ago, but more than 5, if that makes sense. And I kind of got into it, and it blew up fast for me, because I was finding a lot of used stuff really, really cheap. And I had a rule that I wouldn't pay more than $25 for a record. Well, as we all know, the inflation or whatever in the United States has caused everything to go up. So now I don't really have a rule on that if it's not something that's like, something that I really, really want, I don't go over 35. Now, there are things that I've gone to 40, and there's other things that I might go to 50. Like, there's a record store day thing coming out that I know is going to be $50. I'm going to get it. But generally, if it's more than 35, I'll let it go. And that's all. If you ever see me, bidding on stuff on Whatnot, I usually stop before I even get to 30, because I know in most cases somebody else has got another copy of this coming, especially if it's VC vinyl. I know most cases they don't have just one. Even if they think they have just one, usually another one pops up, and usually if you get it after the first time they show it, you usually can get it a little cheaper. So I've let things go for $1. Like, there's been times where something was $26, and the next person bid $27, and I just let it go, and then it sold for $27. So I could have got it probably for $28, unless they bid again. Which in one case I overbid, way overbid for something that I really wanted, because I thought they weren't going to have a lot of them, but it turns out they do, or they did. And I don't know where that one is right now. But we'll get to that at some point. So, as far as that's my spending thing. So as far as genres goes, it could be anything. If I pull out something, we've got David Lee Roth. Then we go to the next aisle, and we've got Green River. And I'm just randomly pulling here, so who knows what's going to come out. Choke chains. I don't even remember what that was. I bought it not too long ago, and I can't remember what actually that was. Right here we got Green Day. So I'm all over the place. With what I buy. Look at this one, the Alvin and the Chipmunks. Anything that just anything. It doesn't matter. Like, the genre does not matter to me if it's good. I stay away from things like modern pop music. I don't feel like it has any heart at all. It's not. I just don't get it. Like, I don't know. It's something about it I just don't like. I don't do a lot of rap and hip hop stuff. Just never was into it. I don't have anything against it, really. I did in the early days when it was coming out, because I felt like they weren't using real musicians. They were just sampling things and creating beats on a keyboard or something. I don't know. I was against that, but now I'm not really. I just don't. It's not my thing most of the time. But I do like things like Beastie Boys. Love them. But Run DMC, like the old stuff that I didn't like back in the day, I tend to kind of like it now. Run DMC. They have what's his name? He's on a cop show. I don't know. I don't know. Going back to Cali guy, whatever his name is. That guy. I like some of his old songs. Just stuff like that. But I'm not. I don't really buy that stuff. I buy the Beastie Boys, but I don't really buy it. But if I could come across it cheaply, I would pick it up. The Fat Boys, that was one. That was a funny one. I did love them back in the day. I thought they were funny. I love the beatboxing kind of stuff and all that. But I just kind of, I don't know. It's weird because a lot of people like they got to get in the mood to listen to certain things. I will put on, 5 different albums in a row, and they'll all be something completely different genre from each other. And some people are like, oh, I got to be in the mood to listen to heavy metal. I need to be in the mood to listen to alternative rock or grunge or whatever. It don't matter to me. If I like it, it goes on. I can listen to Bing Crosby Christmas album and then throw on the Annihilator album or something like that. It doesn't make a difference to me. I don't really judge people's musical taste. I do make fun of people sometimes when they're being kind of ridiculous over a particular artist, and these days it's kind of easy to do with Taylor Swift because her fans are just kind of crazy, I mean, not to offend anybody, but they take it way too seriously, as far as if anybody has an opinion whether they like her or not. I don't really know any Taylor Swift songs except for that Shake It Off song. That's the only song I could ever think of that she sang. And I don't have anything against her herself, but people act like she's their friend. They act like she does no wrong, but she's just a singer and she makes a ton of money off of everyone. So they would a lot of times people would like hate somebody for being the rich person, but they idolize the richest person. So it's a weird thing, and I don't get super into downing people for, because if you like her music, you like what she does, that's great. Enjoy it. I'm happy for you. But you gotta let other people have their space too. You can't this is the end all be all Taylor Swift, or whoever. And it's weird because I try to think of it as well, what happened with the Beatles? What would I have thought if I was around at the height of the Beatles mania? and I just don't know, because I know that's kind of how people reacted. You see all the videos of the girls going crazy, and they did it for Elvis too, and passing out and all this stuff, and I just wonder what would I think of them if I was around in the 60s instead of being born in the 70s when the Beatles are almost done doing their thing. So I don't know, but I love the Beatles. I'm not sure, but I just don't like the when something gets overly popular and the fans I don't know the word. It's not gatekeeping, I don't guess, but when the fans take it way too seriously, when you're going beyond I love this music for whatever reason, it moves me or whatever. When you take it to another level where you got to defend this person for every little thing that anyone says, that's going a little too far. That's all I'm going to say about that. Next up, what do I buy now? Well, currently, I buy records. This is my main thing. I've moved on from getting even worrying about having a digital copy of anything. I mean, I do like to have a backup digital copy. I do listen to iTunes, my iTunes. I don't know what people use anymore, but I either use iTunes or the YouTube Music thing. And so I will upload everything that I have digitally to the YouTube Music, and if I ever need to stream it anywhere, which I don't do a lot, but sometimes when I'm at work or something, if I have to go to the office, I'll bring it and I'll just listen to it on my phone or whatever. But mostly I buy records. Sometimes they have download cards in them. Most of the time they don't. I get a lot of digital stuff off of the library's website. You can get like 10 songs a week. Doesn't really go far, but if you have get an album and there's no card or you don't have a CD of it, you can usually get a copy of most things, not everything. But I do that. I don't buy anything digital. There's been like 3 times in my whole life where I've paid for a song digitally. Don't believe in paying for anything that's not physical copy. So records are my main thing. Used for original pressing, repress, whatever, doesn't matter. That's my go-to now. Second, CDs. I don't usually buy a new CD. I bought a few here and there, like the Def Leppard, Diamond Star Halos. I did buy that, and there's a couple other ones that I think I've gotten new. But generally, I do not buy them. Well, I'm lying to you because I got stacks of CDs right here. But I don't buy them like brand new at the store, like full price, whatever. I don't know what the price of CDs are now. Maybe they're like somewhere between 9 and 16, something like that, depending on what you get. But I will buy them new from like VC Vinyl sells new ones on their $5. Sometimes they're $1, sometimes they're $5. Like this one, LS Dunes. This is a band I found through them. I Prevail. There's a Queen, the Miracle little booklet kind of thing. So I'll buy those that way. I'll buy new ones that are sealed and never opened if they're cheap enough. Otherwise, I go to thrift stores. Sometimes I go to the record store, and generally, you can buy CDs for $1 still. Used CDs. Usually no problems with them. Sometimes the cases are a little ratty or whatever. But the CDs are generally in good shape. I make sure before I buy them. I've done it a couple times where I bought a scratched up CD and then realized, well, I check them all now. But I don't pay a lot for CDs. I'll pay usually between 1 and 5 is my limit on that. Almost never pay any more than 5 unless it would have to be sealed for me to pay more than 5 in almost every case. Unless I'm just losing my mind that day or whatever. But I'll still pick them up. And sometimes I purposely go out looking for them at thrift stores or whatever. Because I generally know what's available most of the time, but every once in a while you go out and you get surprised and you'll find stuff that you didn't think you would ever find. Or you'll find new things that you never heard of. And that's where the biggest thing comes in, where I'll try something. If I know I can get CDs for $1 and I go to a store and they have like one thing that I know of, and I'm like, well, I don't want to go to the register with just one item for $1. I'll try to get like at least $5 to $10 worth of stuff. So I'll come back with like 10 CDs, and none of them are bands I've never heard of. And sometimes that doesn't work out so well. They're just not anything great. Sometimes I find something like, holy moly, I need to get more of this, and then I end up buying records and whatever. So, but that is basically what I buy nowadays. I don't do the like a lot of DVD or Blu-ray kind of stuff. I do have some, and I'll pick them up if I find them cheap. But I don't usually seek them out because I don't watch them. It's weird that somebody that collects music and has a wall of CDs and 2 walls of records, that doesn't want to watch videos. But I just, and if I want to watch videos, I put on YouTube. That's if I want to watch a concert video, I want to watch a documentary or whatever. I don't know. I don't usually watch anything physical anymore, and I have a ton of movies that I've got, and I don't watch them as long like I used to, and I don't know I'm at the point where I don't know if I even want to have them anymore, because I've got so much stuff in this apartment. It's ridiculous. So I'm kind of up in the air about that. Um, so anyway, I feel like I'm rambling because I'm not showing anything really. But I just been doing this a long time. I guess I started collecting when I was, I guess, 13 or so. See, the music collecting and the comic book collecting that I do all started around the same time. And I want to say that was around 1983. I have to go back and look. But the comic book thing collecting kind of happened by accident, and the music collecting was more of a purpose kind of thing. So since this is not a comic book show, I'll just say that I got somebody's subscription of X-Men get sent to my grandmother's house for one issue, and I claimed it as my own, and I found out that comic books were a little bit more awesome than I knew when I was that age. I was like 12 or 13, and I just went from there, and I started buying comic books. But the records, I mean, the music kind of started because of the top 40. I listened to that every week, and then one year for Christmas or my birthday or something, I begged for a radio with a tape, recorder in it, and it was weird because I wanted it, but then like I think my sisters either both of my sisters or at least one of them got the same exact thing as me, and even though I was the only one that wanted it, and I still have some of the cassettes, and actually I got one sitting here somewhere. I just saw it minutes ago when here's one. When I would just record songs off the radio, all the time, every weekend. This one right here, it was these kind of tapes too. These little high energy, low noise recording cassette. Gemini. This one was made by. These are cheap. They were cheap back then. They were probably, I think they came in like 3-packs. They didn't even have a case. This is my Genesis Invisible Touch, which I made that cover for. Awesome. 40 years ago, 30 years ago, whatever it was. But any kind of cassette I could get, it didn't matter. People are like so particular these days. If you go on the some of those cassette collectors groups, it's kind of funny because they're kind of insane about what kind of cassettes you should use and all that stuff, and it's just like, dude, I don't remember using anything besides whatever was available. We'd go to the store and if we could talk my mom or my aunt or anybody into buying some blank tapes, they would. And my aunt used to do it for me a lot. I don't know why. I mean, I lived next door to her, but she would go to the store, and every once in a while would say, hey, if you get any blank tapes, I need a few. And she would do it. She would always come back with whatever. They were like TDK or some other nonsense. I don't know. And they weren't always the best, I don't think, but they worked, and I still have a ton of them today, and I don't really listen to them anymore, but every once in a while I'll pull something out and say, oh, let me stick that in and listen to it. It sounds fine to me. I don't know. But I just, I forgot what my point was there. I don't know. But anyway, so collecting is kind of something that I can't help myself to do. Like if I could stop at any point. I could stop collecting records, or I could stop collecting comic books, or I could stop collecting CDs. And I did for a long time. I didn't collect CDs or music there was probably like, let's see, Hurricane Katrina was in 2015, and so I guarantee I didn't buy a CD or a record because I wasn't even into records at that point. So when I say it was 2005, I'm sorry, not 2005. I probably didn't buy anything new. Not to say I didn't get any MP3s or anything, but I didn't buy a new album probably until 2015 or so, somewhere around there. Maybe a little earlier, maybe let's say 2013 or something. So that's why I don't know when my record collecting got back in because I started coming back with some CDs, and then I started seeing a lot of live bands and stuff, and taking pictures and stuff, and I was buying their stuff, and then I kind of went into getting stuff, but I went. Something made me go to the record store and start buying like used stuff, like in the bargain bin kind of stuff, dollar bins, 3 for 5s, five for 3 for 10s or whatever kind of stuff. And I was buying a lot of stuff, and I was finding a good bit of stuff, and then it just kind of took off, and then it really took off, and then this year, after my mom passed away, I know that it's a coping mechanism. I know it, but I just kind of lost my my stop button, and I just bought and bought and bought, and it's not like I bought expensive stuff. There's only, like I said, the only two real expensive ones I think were these two that I showed you earlier. But most of the stuff I'm getting is less than $20. A lot of it's is $10. And it's just I just kind of lost it, and I'm reining it in now. It's good that I spent a lot on my credit card, because that's letting me know, okay, I'm reaching a point where I got to go back down. I cannot keep going up, or maybe maxed out or something, which I'm not, but I'm close. So I'm getting through record store day. I haven't bought anything in a few days, which it's weird to say, oh, it's only been a few days since I bought something, but if I've got 3 of these right here, and I think each one of these bins probably has 50 to 100 records in them. Maybe not 100, but at least 50 records in each one. And then there's some loose ones here. This is like 20 something here. So let's say I've bought almost 200 records in. My mom died in August, so September, October, November, 3 months. It's a lot of records, and a lot of records, guys. And like I said, I've gotten a lot of them cheap. Some of them I got free. Some of them I got for $1. Some of them I got refunds on because they were damaged. But it's been a lot, and so I'm reining that in now, and I'm gonna try to it's hard, guys, when you see stuff that you really want. They're on your top albums list of all time and stuff, and you see that, and you got to let it go, and it's not expensive. It's hard, and I've done that, and there's the two Smashing Pumpkins, Siamese Dream, and Melancholy Infant Sadness. They had both of those, both of them pretty affordable, and I have had to let them go. And the Smashing Pumpkins, Siamese Dream, still available most days recently, and it's going for less than 30 most of the time, but I just can't. I can't do it. I cannot buy it right now. So I'm getting back to being a less psychopath about buying stuff, I guess. But I don't know. I enjoy it, and I guess that's the key, is like to enjoy what you do, whether or not it makes your life better or not. Don't know. I don't know what I would be if I didn't collect stuff. I don't know if I'd be better or worse off. I know I'd have more money. I definitely would have more of that. But I don't know. I feel lost if I don't. If I'm not collecting something, it's weird, and it's probably something that that a doctor would oh, you need be on some kind of drugs or something to make you not want to do this. But I don't know. It's always just been something that I've enjoyed, whether it's comic books, music, whatever. You know, I mean, I don't movies. I collected movies, but not like I do with anything else. Movies just if it was a movie I liked, I got it, and then if I got it, because a lot of times you'll find movies super cheap. And what I would do is back in the Blockbuster music days, when I went to rent movies, I figured out that if you rent a movie, it would be like $5. If you bought a used movie, a lot of times you get it for $4 or $3. And so I was like, well, why would I rent a movie if I could just own it? You know. So I would do that first. I'd go and look at the whatever they were selling, their previously viewed stock stuff they rented out, I guess. I'd just go grab a couple of those and have them. So I have tons of movies like that. And then if it was something that I really wanted, then I would buy it new. But I don't buy hardly anything anymore as far as movies goes, unless I find them in a thrift store or something. I don't usually buy anything at all. I mean, I kind of lost it on movies. I haven't even been to a movie in a theater since before COVID. So I don't know. Something just is off with that right now. I don't even like Netflix and stuff like that. I don't even hardly watch it. And I have Netflix and Disney Plus, and I hardly ever watch either one of them. But that has nothing to do with music. So anyway, this has kind of been about an hour long, I guess. Maybe a little less. Let's see, we've got 51 minutes. So I'm gonna wrap it up. But I just wanted to kind of say, that I just wanted to show you guys, I guess, what I got, and I really didn't get a good view. Let's see if we can move this camera and let you guys see the CD wall. Can you see that? Can you see it? Can you see it? That's a lot. And then you come back around and you see my face. You see the records over there. Oops. And that bin right there is the only one that's got half of a bin left, but that's soon to be filled. Don't worry. And if you see right there, where is it? That is a Jolt Cola can that is empty. It's just I just always had a thing for Jolt Cola when I was in college. I had a friend who would, like, he was obsessed with it, and oh look, there you go. That's all that's new records and the CDs. These are all records. So all those records, that's all new. Those are the ones that just need to be cleaned still. And so there's others that have already been put on the shelf that are kind of new. You've already seen all of those in other videos, but these are ones that have never been on a video. These are ones that have never been cleaned yet. Some of them have been listened. Some of them have been kind of cleaned because I've listened to a lot of them, and I'll give them a quick clean, but haven't gone through the spin clean or anything yet. And some of them are still sealed because I just haven't got to them yet. But in the near future, I'm going to go through all these on some shows. Probably going to do maybe one full bin or one or half a bin at a time. And they're all alphabetized right now, so they're going to be in alphabetical order. And we'll, just go through all those. And then hopefully, I know I've said this before, I'm going to try to do some themed shows where I talk about certain kinds of whatever. And I don't know, my throat is gone, guys, so I got to stop talking. But I don't know if this was an exciting episode. I don't know if you learned anything. But I just want to thank anybody that watches my videos. Anybody that cares, to see what I have. And that's it, really. I will talk to you guys soon. I'm going to have another video in the near future, starting with these records here that we got to look at. And then I promised my friend Keith in New Zealand that and his buddy that's interested as well, that I was going to do the thrash metal show where I showed the stuff I got from the Southeastern Louisiana University free day of record things, whatever, where I got a bunch of old thrash metal albums and some other kind of metal stuff too, as well as other things. I'm probably just going to show everything that was metal or metal adjacent from there, because I know there's a few things that aren't thrash. Like there's a 2-Bit Thief. I think I have a single from them, and Taramis, and I don't think they're uh, metal. I mean, I don't think they're thrash. But then there's somebody called Claytown Troop. There's a bunch. There's probably about 50 to 100 of those, and I'll once I get all this stuff taken care of and put where it needs to be, then I'll pull all that other stuff off and put it in the bin so I can do that, because otherwise I don't have any more bins. So that's why we got some outside of it. But anyway, that's it for this episode. It's going on too long. 250 episodes down the drain. Hopefully to do another 250 more or die trying. And that is it for this episode. Talk to you guys later. Bye.